Hello, Gary Lyon, and welcome to the wash-up for the Cats. Another top four finish for this great football club, but they'd be bitterly disappointed at their straight sets exit in the finals, Damo.
Yeah, they are, guys. They didn't expect it. They didn't like it. They're talking up the future, but I'm not as buoyant about what lies ahead immediately for this club.
They're a proud footy club, ferociously competitive, and they will go to work in the coming weeks, but there was some highlights throughout the course of it. For me, Tommy Hawkins coming back from that back injury, I guess someone that's gone through back pain, Damo, you get a little bit sensitive to this and hope that it's not a lingering thing. Well, he put it to bed throughout the course of this season. He remained a powerhouse right up until their very last final, and I think that's a fantastic result because God knows they'd be in trouble if he didn't come back.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and you're dead right too. I mean, he nearly got them into a preliminary final, didn't he, with his deeds in that last quarter, But was the big doubt going into 2014? Would he respond to what happened in 2013 with the back? I think we can say he's good to go now for the future. Guys, my highlight was Motlop's form. We'll highlight one particular game against Essendon where his last quarter just single-handedly won it for the Cats with just two extraordinary goals. But his work over the course of 2014 was really good too. It was his best season of footy. Again, there's still, though, a few question marks on him. He needs to get his body right. He needs to get his durability right. He just needs to probably stay in the game longer. But his trick bag is as good as anyone's in the comp.
One of the most exciting talents going around, no question about that. So that's a terrific highlight. Low light for me, this is so un-Geelong-like. They went up to Sydney and got obliterated by 110 points.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It was hard to believe. It was hard to believe for them. And I reckon Chris Scott and the rest of the team handled it beautifully. I mean, I don't think they shied away from it, but I also think he had such great faith in them to know that it was a blip on the radar as opposed to something that was going to be detrimental to the long term.
My highlight was just the loss of Nathan Vardy for effectively the season. They made a big call last year to get rid of Podsy Adley, and it was the right call, but it needed to have Vardy stand up, and he was going to, and he had big plans. Chris Scott had big plans for him, just didn't materialise, and it left them very vulnerable once he went down. And he's a good kid. I really hope he gets a chance, but it must be doubtful now.
I do too. Hey, Christmas bonus time. I had a really big bonus for this man, Mitch Duncan, who's one of my favourites. Probably got captaincy in his future at some stage. The bonus was sizable, Damo, but over perhaps the final series, I've had to take a couple of little bundles back out. But he's still a super talent, super kid, works hard, he deserves a bonus. And as I said, I think when Joel Selwood hands it over, he's going to be in the reckoning to take over, and that'll be a fitting reward for him, I reckon.
Okay, my bonus goes to Harry Taylor, and I'm like you. I had a little bit more to give Harry only a few weeks ago, but I don't think his final series was all that good, guys. I'm not saying he was the reason they went out in straight sets, but I just expected a bit more from him, and I reckon deep down he would have himself. He started slowly and then got his form going beautifully throughout the majority of the home and away season, particularly late, but I just felt he lacked a little bit in the two crunch games.
I don't think it was necessarily he played poorly. I think opposition teams have gone to work on him and are taking him away from where all the traffic is, which meant that he wasn't able to impact as much. So, yeah, you can take a bundle away from him.
Who are you going to put on the chopping block for the Cats?
Mitch Brown, for me. He wears the number 1 Guernsey. He was a high draft pick. Damo's been given plenty of time, and I just think he came up really short. And I know Chris Scott will say, well, he hasn't played much home and away footy. I'm not sure you can hang on to Mitch Brown again. So, for me.
Well, I'm going to give it to Billy Smets, guys.
What?
Had raps on him there for some time. The problem they've got with him at the moment is there's not going to be much currency for him. So,
well, I think
whether he stays or goes, do you?
Yeah.
What's he worth?
Maybe high second, low third, but he's got genuine leg speed, which is going to be of some interest, and he's been in that great Geelong system, which always attracts someone, if that's in fact where they go.
Well, you like the Cats more than I do in the big picture. Where do they improve, and how do they improve?
Support for Tom Hawkins for me. I suspect James Frawley's going to go to Geelong, so that will shore up a defence that, you know, if you're saying then right, struggled a little bit.
Hang on, you've been bagging James Frawley all year.
Yes. Well, bagging is a strong word. Constructively criticising some of
I've got to use a stronger word to what you've been saying about James.
Some aspects of his game need improvement, and there's no doubt about that. But he will go into that setup and play third defender, Damo. If he can't do that, then look out. But anyway, they need forward line work. So someone needs to go in to help Tommy Hawkins and whether they target that person in the off-season or whether Harry Taylor may be that man. Who knows?
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I like, highlighted Stephen Motlop before too. I'm going to throw Alan Christensen in too. Both those guys just need to get their bodies fully attuned to AFL demands, guys. And Christensen missed the finals. Again, it was an unfortunate setback with his back, and sometimes you have no control over such matters. But they just both, I reckon, need to have the biggest pre-seasons they can possibly muster.
Yeah, and that is a challenge. I mean, their bodies are going to be able to handle that, but they certainly do need the work. So I think you've got to take a risk with them. Righto, this great Geelong side who have been up contending for so long, Damo, up, down, stagnate.
Down.
What?
Down. Even though they finished out in straight sets, I reckon they'll just be hovering around 7 and 8 and possibly 9 or 10.
Whoa, I know it sounds bad, but I've got them going down as well. I haven't got them in the top 4, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I've certainly got them in the finals, though, Damo. But nice from you. Appreciate that. That's the wash-up for the Geelong Footy Club in 2014.